Good morning. Hope you're all doing well. I gotta check the time. Okay, got a little bit of time before I go in this morning. Okay, so I've been pondering this thought of why is everything backwards here? It's backwards to me. And now I know why. So I'm gonna explain. All right. And this might resonate with some of you, and it might explain quite a bit of things. At least it did for me. And it was weird because it was literally right there in front of my face, and I knew this, but it just clicked yesterday. Because I asked a question. Anytime I ask a question to the universe or to life, to this, it has to respond because I demand and command it to give me the answer. So that's what I did. And it was, why is this so backwards to me? Why does this system and everything here in the material plane on earth seem so backwards? Because where I come from, it is the complete and total opposite. And let me explain. I did this in a video a while back about how the universe is kind of like an atom, which makes sense because an atom is life. An atom is electrons, protons, and neutrons that create molecules that create life. Without these, there is no life. If you look at everything on a subatomic level, if you look at it on a molecular level, everything is electrons, protons, and neutrons, including you as a being. And I showed this, and this is an atom. And in the middle there, you see the protons and the neutrons. That's God. God's the center point. Once you get further out from God, you have the ethereal realm, the astral realm, and the material realm. You get more into the electrons, which are negative. Negative polarity, positive polarity. And do you notice that the positive polarity and the negative polarity, they bond. They create bonds with each other, but they are separate from each other. They're not like this. Kumbaya, lovey, lovey, lovey. Nope. Not how an atom is set up. And see, here in the material plane, since it's the furthest plane outside from God, it is the most negative, has the most negative polarity. That's why this system here is driven by negativity, greed, power, the need to control and dominate. It is a patriarchal, a masculine society, a masculine realm where the masculine rules. And even your teachings are masculine driven. The feminine is oppressed. The feminine is seen as unequal. That's how it is here in the material plane, here in this time, in this particular, in Earth. And for me, where I come from, which is right next to God, right there, also known as heaven, positive. We're positive polarity. Women rule. The men worship the women there. Heaven is ruled by the feminine, the God the Mother. Versus here where y'all worship God the Father. Which is why things to me didn't make sense, because there I'm worshipped. I have everything I want. I don't lack anything. And when I came here into this body, it wasn't until later in my life when I was able to timeline jump, go back into time and see things and understand them. When God showed me, or we had this conversation before I came here, which was, you're going to go there, here's your mission. I'm like, I'm not going there. That's a suicide mission. Every time a positive, heaven-sent energy comes here, like Jesus, 100% positive, to try to show humanity the way, they're slaughtered. We're overtaken by bullies, gang stalking. You're sucked into the mass of the tar of the negativity. That's why we hate coming here. Because we know nothing's going to change. It's just going to be the same result as it was last time. It just clicked. So now what? Now what? I don't know yet. But I know this. I'm not going to exist here in negative polarity, because for me, negative people, negative energy, negative polarity in my system makes me sick. It literally physically makes me sick. Because I am I've been pulling out these toxins and this negativity now that I realize what this is, because I don't want it. And here's the other thing with negativity, you don't create anything. Nobody likes being negative. That's not true. Actually, there are people that like drama and they like negativity and they like to stir the pot. But for the most part, most society is running away from negativity. This is hell. This is literally hell, guys. Not joking. But most people don't like living in that way. Most people are turning back to God, back to positivity, attempting to change their mindset and to be better. So now what? Because you have two main minds that created this whole thing. A God the Father and a God the Mother. And you can see how polarized they became. Look at your politics. You're far right and you're far left. You sit them at a table. Do you think they're going to compromise and come to an agreement? Probably not. Because they fundamentally disagree. Fundamentally. This is what I noticed with my ex. He was a far negative. Just him being near me made my body ache. Made me sick. His belief system was all about enslaving others, dominating others, taking energy from others, specifically me, because he needed my energy in order to create his delusional, illusional utopia, because a negative polarity cannot create, because it's a destructive. Yeah, that's right. The masculine is not the creator. The feminine is. The masculine is the destructive energy. Do you need destructive energy? Yep. You have to have both of them to balance. But what's happened is it's gotten so far polarized that there's not been any middle ground. They haven't been able to come back together in harmony, in some type of unity, in some type of, hey, we may not agree, but we love each other enough to say, let's disagree or let's find a new solution. And for me, I go 100% positive, because that's my realm. That's who I am. And I make anything happen. I can manifest anything I want just by speaking it. Because I know I have that power. That's God power. And I do. But he didn't get that. And it used to piss him off. Like, how can you manifest money like that? How can you manifest houses and cars and things? These energies never understood that. And then they get jealous and envious and then want to take that because they're not willing to understand it. I think that's where things need to change, and they are changing. The middle ground, I feel like, is, and I just went through this, and maybe you have too, you lights, you positives, you heaven energies, you positive energies, You probably the last month or two got thrown into the dark. It's not really the dark, because dark is not bad. Dark and light must have. You need that for everything. It's the negativity. It's the toxicity. That's what it is. It's the toxicity where we get to a point where we're like, I want to hurt you. Why? Hurting me is hurting you. That's stupid. At least that's my perspective. Apparently, from their perspective, that's just a normal Tuesday. They like doing that shit. They like hurting other people. They like raping. They like murdering. They like it. Sorry, that was maybe a little rude, but they like it. Here's the thing, though, with these energies. They like doing that as long as they are in power and control. You start to tear down a tyrant and do that shit to them? Man, you can't do that. That's exactly what they do. They start crying like a little bitch. So wait a minute. This is what I used to say to my ex. Wait a minute. You can do that to me, but if I do it to you, it's a problem? Don't you see where that's kind of like illogical? Nope. We could never compromise. I would build something, he would destroy it. He would take inventions and ideas from me, try to build, and it would destroy. But what's going to happen is that these two are going to have to go back. The negative is going to have to go back to the positive perspective and live that and understand that. And us positives, which is what just happened for a lot of you, are going to go back into the negative perspective. You're going to go all the way to the extreme polarity, because if you are going to gain mastery over life, if you are going to gain mastery, period, you have to go to both ends of I know you can't see my fingers, but it's a pendulum. You're going to have to go to both ends of the pendulum, understand it, experience it, and have mastery over it. Experiencing everything on that scale gives you mastery over it. That way I can go all the way to apathy or death or depression, no problem. Doesn't bother me. I can go there with someone. I can go straight down to hell, the bottom of hell, and pull them out of there. I won't sit in that energy. I have the capacity to go there. It does not affect me. Same with the light, or the positive energy. I can go to joy and bliss, but I don't stay there all the time. Because I like all the colors of the rainbow. It's fun to be a little naughty and bad sometimes. And it's okay to be happy. It's okay to be sad. We have gotten to a point where we're like, it's one or the other. But it's not. It's all of it. I think we've got to come out of this mindset of me versus you, it's this or that. That's why we're flip-flopping and gaining other perspective. And you positives have had a rough month or two. We have. Because we sat in that energy with our mates, because these are soulmates, and understood their perspective. Okay, I understand your perspective, but you can't stay there. I can't go to the extreme negative and stay there. That's not healthy. And I know you don't want to go to the extreme positive, because that's not healthy either. Get it? The next level for us, this one's going to come back whole. This one's going to come back whole. In divinity, understanding their oneness with God as God. Whoop. Bring that back down into here as God. Positive and negative to neutral. Not everybody's going to be able to do this. Not everybody. These are divine God beings that were sent here on purpose for a mission. Our mission was to do exactly what I just told you. To understand the other's perspective and come back. Because this extreme polarity is hurting everyone at every level. It's not sustainable. It creates that vicious predator-prey chase-runner cycle that we never get out of. It's not growth, it's stagnation. But now we're going into growth mode. Growth mode is exactly what I just said, is going into mastery at every level. And having total and absolute control on a conscious level of everything. And the last part is here, the matter. And that is what is coming. So, there you go. And then that will be the new earth, the new way. Is when these two come back and understand their divinity and remember their divinity, then they unite, create a ripple effect, then more come on board, boop, 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 boop. And then more and more and more come on board. Not everybody, though. There's going to be some extremes still, some positive and negative. They're going to want to stay in those. That's not our role to take them out of there. That's their free will choice. Your responsibility is to work on you. So if you're a positive person that came here from heaven like me, that's what you got to do. You've got to gain mastery over your own polarity and integrate all of it. And mastery is the ability to go to either end of the pendulum at will in every moment. And then control everything in every moment consciously. Yes. Yes. All right. I love you. Have a great day. Bye.